right, so Lance is going to read our Bible portion. Oops, do I have it? Okay, all right, wait a minute. All right, there we go. This is Matthew 26, 30 through 41. Okay, babe.
And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then saith Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee.
Okay, hang on one second right there. When he says, this very night you will fall away on account of me, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. What do you think that he's talking about? Who wants to answer? Oh. Okay, Lance, you can give it to Olivia.
And I think that, Jesus, that when he's taken away and as prisoner, then the disciples won't have Jesus anymore, and Jesus is like the shepherd. So then they won't have their leader or master anymore.
Mm-hmm. What were you going to say, Olivia? Kind of the same?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay. I don't know where to put this to where we could see the whole class. I don't know. But anyway, so the shepherd does represent Jesus. Okay, I don't know where to put this. I don't know if we can see the whole classroom.
Why don't you just flip the camera?
Because it feels kind of weird. But anyway, okay, so the shepherd is Jesus, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. The sheep are the disciples, but actually the disciples are going to deny Jesus, or we're going to see at least Peter is going to deny, and then the other ones are going to run away in fear. Okay? All right, keep reading, please.
Peter replied, Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will. Truly I tell you, Jesus answered, this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all the other disciples said the same.
Do you guys ever feel that way? Like, oh, I would never disown Jesus. Do you guys feel that way? Yeah, I definitely do too sometimes. I feel that a lot. I'm like, oh, I'll never disown you because I love you so much. But Jesus is prophesying and saying, you are going to deny me at some point. Okay, go ahead, Lance.
Okay. Gethsemane. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, Sit here while I go over there and pray. He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with them, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and watch with me, and keep watch with me. And going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will. Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour? He asked Peter. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
So what do you guys think about that portion? I should set this over here so we can see the whole classroom. What do you guys think about that whole portion?
That Jesus was very troubled, and then when he came to see the disciples, he wanted to be helped because he was human, so he wanted help. But then when he found his friend sleeping, I think it kind of hurt him a little because he didn't have anyone to talk to.
Yeah. What do you think? Anything to add to that, Lance? Or Are you agree with Olivia? Yeah? Olivia, I'm going to let you hold this for a second, and you can. So when it says, well, first of all, when you first read, Peter declared, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all of the disciples said the same. Okay, and then Jesus, he's coming to Peter, and he just wants them to stay awake with him, right? And then to pray, because Jesus knows that he's going to face something terrible. The disciples and Peter have no idea what is getting ready to happen to Jesus. I mean, Jesus has told them before, but I don't know that the disciples put it all together. Like, he had given them clues as to what's going to happen, but I don't think that they knew this was going to happen that night. And I wonder if Jesus had have laid it out and said, okay, tonight, this is going to happen, they're going to come and get me, and they're going to come take me away. I think maybe if he would have laid it out very plainly to them, that maybe the disciples would have changed and maybe would have been there with him. Maybe, right? But God in his wisdom, he doesn't give all of the details. And maybe if he would have given the details, maybe the disciples would have done something totally different. I mean, I don't know. There is definitely wisdom in why they didn't know exactly what was going to happen that night. But Jesus is just wanting them to pray. Jesus is not wanting them to defend him when he's going to be crucified. Jesus is not wanting them to do anything other than just pray. And then the disciples didn't do that, right? They weren't obedient to the exact thing that Jesus was asking them to do. And then a little bit later it says, could you not keep watch with me for 1 hour? And then it says, watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. So Jesus is telling them, what I want you to do is going to strengthen you spiritually and physically. Like, the Spirit is willing to come into you guys and to give you everything you need to stand strong with what's going to happen tonight. Because what happens later on is horrible, and they all scatter, and they're all full of fear. They don't know. But I just wonder how things would have changed, how maybe they would have been strengthened the whole night and for the next day if they would have just been obedient. So even right now, let's fast forward to right now in 2015. How do you think these scriptures could apply to us today? Because Jesus has already been crucified and he has been raised again. What do you think? How do you think we could use these scriptures to apply to us today? Either one of you have any ideas?
When Jesus was saying that we need to pray to fight off temptation, I think we need to do that today.
What are some ways that we can pray and stay real focused like that? What are some ways, like, how do we see that in our daily life? What does that look like? Like, oh, Jesus, please give me this job. Or, oh, Jesus, please help me get an A in my test today. Help me to... And I can hold this, too, for you guys if you have an answer, too. What do you think it looks like?
Like, how to stay focused on him?
Yeah, what is this gonna look like for us to stay strong?
I think it's like staying focused on him. So that, like, you're not distracted by anything. Because, like, they were distracted, like, oh, I'm so tired. So.
And I think we need to do this, like, even when we feel like it, when we don't. We have to have a plan spiritually of what we're going to do. We need to set a time every day that we spend time in the Word. We need to have a time every day that we are going to pray to the Lord several times a day. Sometimes we have to just set an alarm on our clocks or our phones or something just to remind us, oh, it's time that we need to pray and get connected with the Lord. Because if we're not connected with Him, we're not going to be prepared for what's going to happen next. Because sometimes, just like in this story, Jesus did not give them all of the details. He didn't tell them exactly what was going to happen next. He just said, watch and pray. Watch and pray. And I think that Jesus, it says that he fell to his face. I know that he was concerned about what was going to happen to him personally, but I also know that he was concerned about what was going to happen to his friends. He wanted them to stay strong spiritually, but we can learn. There's never a time that we mess up so bad that we can't come to him. But in order for us to stay strong and prepared, we need to be very diligent and on purpose, not just pray when we feel like it or when we feel led. That's a big word or big phrase that we hear in church and the Christian community. Oh, I feel led to pray. Ooh, I don't feel led to get out of bed this morning and pray. I feel led to turn over and sleep a little longer, which is usually how we feel every morning, right? But we need to make that time to spend time with the Lord, so that we can be strong for whatever is going to happen next. Because he can work through all of us, no matter what our age, no matter how young or how old. God can work through all of us to encourage us and to help to encourage others. And he says that we're going to do amazing miracles. Jesus said that we're going to do greater works than Jesus did on earth if we stay connected with him. So how many people could possibly be healed? How many people could possibly be encouraged? How many people could possibly find solutions to their problems or an encouraging word or whatever if we just stay connected to the Lord and obey what he tells us to do for other people? Okay? It's pretty awesome, huh? All right. You guys ready to go upstairs and you guys can pray and then journal whatever the Lord is telling you?